trend lines don't work. Well, that's what many people would have you believe out here in the social media sphere that we operate on here. I had some messages coming through on this very subject just this week, and what utter nonsense it is when you hear these people saying trend lines don't work. They obviously don't know how to trade, or they have a vested interest in you in playing on your fears, because this is what happens out there, is that people prey on traders' fears. Most people who have been around for a while know that, whatever it is, 70-80% plus of traders fail. So if they can come up with a reason why you're failing, such as, the market makers are out to get you, you're probably putting your stops in the wrong place. Of course, if you've got a load of traders out there getting stopped out, they'll be like, that must be it. Likewise, trend lines don't work. Technical analysis doesn't work. That's why I'm not making any money. No, it's not. Don't listen to this nonsense that they're talking about. Technical analysis has been around for donkey's years. In fact, runs into centuries old. And so these people who are saying this stuff are doing it to try and prey on you, so you go and buy their courses or whatever it is they're wanting ultimately to sell to you. Absolute nonsense. So, why do trend lines work? Well, we have support and resistance, as I like to call it. Some people like to say, "Oh no, Charlie, it's not that. It's a liquidity zone or whatever." It's just a more modern term. You see it all over social media at the moment. It's just nonsense. It's just words. They're doing it, blind you with science to make you think, "Oh God, what's this liquidity zone that must be there?" No, it's not. It's a way of preying on you to get you to, "Oh God, I need to go and learn something else." Chuck all that nonsense in the bin and focus on the basics of trading. Where you're buying, where you're selling, risk and reward, risk management. There we go. So I've got a chart up here, and I'm going to go through a few charts here with some trend lines on. Heaven forbid. But let's just go through that. So I've got some trend lines. This is the NASDAQ. It's the NASDAQ 100 index. So a daily chart to start off with, and I'm just going to pop a load of my lines on. These are lines that I have on my chart right now. So as we can see, we've got a few on here. And you can see that I've got them going back. Look at that one going all the way back here. Beautiful trend line. That declining trend line here. We broke out of it ages ago now. Even did a retest before then going higher. These things, if you know how to use them, are awesome. I am recording this. Oh, sorry, that's people in my trading room. I'm recording this for YouTube Guitar. So these things, if you know what you're doing with them, then they're a brilliant tool to use. There's not any magic. There's not really any rocket science or magic. So when I say if you know what you're doing with them, there's no real particular magic. I'm not holding back some secrets. It's just a case of the basics of trendline analysis. Markets, like to go back and retest prior levels that they've been to, and trend lines are areas where markets will like to mean revert back to those sort of levels, much like markets will mean revert back to moving averages. I find it laughable that you get people saying, "Oh, moving averages, how they don't work." You're like, yeah, you obviously have never learned technical analysis, have you, son? So when it comes to the market, we've got trend lines and all sorts of other tools, and I'm not saying you have to use these things. So if you want to go and just trade against prior highs, prior lows and stuff, absolutely, that's technical analysis. What I'm talking about here is these idiots who try and say that, one, technical analysis doesn't work, and two, trend lines don't work, which is just utter rubbish. So let's delve into this NASDAQ here. So I've just talked about that trend line where we had that break to the upside ultimately. There are very clear distinctive levels where we're seeing price coming up into trend lines and being rejected. Then we're getting to that point where we break out, and then some people say, well, how do you know when we're going to break out? You never know 100% when price is going to break out of a trend line. But there are clues. There are clues at times. And one of those clues is pebble on a pond. So anyway, we've got this rising trend line below the NASDAQ right now. But the NASDAQ, as we can also see, is from a technical analysis perspective. Oh, of course, technical analysis doesn't work, does it, ladies and gentlemen? So we can see we've got this beautiful horizontal, what was resistance becomes support. Don't let people say, oh, it's a liquidity zone. It just makes me a bit of something comes up in my throat then, when I hear this stuff. Don't listen to the nonsense they preach to you. Just get on with your technical analysis. So, lovely support zone here, as we can see. And also a wonderful resistance zone that we can see where the NASDAQ is again right now as I'm recording this Friday afternoon. So, and even we can see we've got, well, what's this line here, Charlie? Well, let's go into it because this line was only put on my chart earlier this morning. So earlier today, I was in the trading room with our members and this declining trend line was placed on to the NASDAQ. We were talking about, well, the potential, if we get a strong close through that trend line, to that's on for a definitive trend line breakout, and we've ended up having an amazing run here in the stock markets this afternoon. So, okay, there's a nice little example there using the NASDAQ, but let's not just stay with the NASDAQ. Let's go through some other major markets. Let's go to the Eurodollar, for example. There's a trend channel here. Oh, sacre bleu. No, not a trend channel. Well, okay. Well, I thought trend lines don't work, Charlie. Well, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but they do. So, and of course trend lines fail, like everything fails in the markets as well. Whatever pattern it is you trade, don't listen to the stuff that people tell you because any pattern fails. Whatever you're using, any kind of support, resistance, supply, demand, liquidity, whatever. So everything fails. That's why the true success in trading comes down to risk management, risk reward, and all that other basics of trading, ultimate, and really, and your mindset and how you approach the market. So, so we've got this nice trend channel that I've had on my chart now of the Eurodollar for quite some time, and actually, funny enough, price has respected that channel along here, along these highs here, just nudged along this trend channel up here. Then we got down to the lower trend channel. Funny enough, I was buying down there. And here we are, still trading within this channel. But if we go further out, let's go out to maybe a weekly chart to see what this dotted line is. So if we go out to a dotted line of the weeklies, no, that's still not going to show it. I need to go to the monthly chart. So look, you can see I've got a load of other trend lines on this chart. Look at this dotted line now. Beautiful trend line going all the way through. Since way back in the 2008 highs. Now, what was interesting with the euro back here is we got this breakout back in 2020. I was trading on the long side, fun enough, during that with our members. And ultimately, it ended up being, on this time frame, a fake out. It came up, made a high, and rolled over. I've subsequently, this is a new trend line in relative terms. After we'd rolled over from here, then I could put this trend line on. So at the moment we're looking at this declining trend line. So we can call that like a false breakout in a way, in a sense, in that it broke out, but ultimately ended up rolling all the way over and making a new price low below these lows back here. So, but here we are again with the euro. A few months ago, coming back to this declining trend line again. So we've done a breakout, which worked, was a nice run, beautiful run. It's on a monthly chart here. Had a great run, but then rolled over, made a new low, which could have been, in technical terms, a false break to the downside because we priced that, then came all the way roaring back off of this big historical support down here. So here we are now with this now a new confirmed breakout of this trend line. And so I would wager that price over time will work its way, by hook or by crook, to this other longer term trend line over here. Someone wants to take me a wager on that. I'll take that bet. It's not a 100% bet because I could be wrong. Like I've said, nothing is 100%, but I'll take that bet anyway because I could put reasonable odds that over time, this is a monthly chart, by the way, so some of these people out there might not even be trading in a year's time, but I'll take that bet anyway, that one way or another, it'll work its way. Probably the odds favour that it'll work its way there one way or another, okay? At some point in the future. Someone pull me up on this in 2 years' time. I'm really being nasty today. I'm being nasty to these people who talk about TA doesn't work and stuff. It's just nonsense. They're just preying on people's insecurities. So, and I hate that, and that's why it annoys me. So, what else have we got? What's this trend line here coming up through these lows? I've got another one up through these lows as well. So let's have a look at these two, and so on this one, I'm going to need to go out even further. So I'm going to go out to a quarterly chart to put that into perspective. Oh, right, now we've got this low from back in 85. Before anyone gets too clever saying, well, the euro didn't exist in 85, that's correct. This is a composite chart. So, and if you don't understand what a composite chart is, that's fine, but I'm not going to answer that right now because those people who think, oh, no, the euro didn't exist, it's a composite. Anyway, so the lows of 85, we'll take that one. Then we got the lows of 2017, January 2017, and then which creates a lovely trend line. The lows of 2020, slice through that, perfect. Again, nothing's in exact science. We get overshoots of levels. So that trend line, now, if I come back to the monthly chart, we can see that's above us. This is these steep ones, the daily ones I've just the channel on the daily that I've just we just went through on the daily chart, so I'll just get rid of those for now. So this trend line, fun enough, over here from Trendline Analysis, again, I would put a wager that at some point in the future, price will work its way to that trend line because price likes to retrace to prior breakouts of horizontal support and resistance and, fun enough, trend lines. So I would put a wager, much like the other one, that by hook or by crook, whether the euro pulls back from here in the next few months, whatever, or it doesn't and it just goes straight up, one way or another, at some point in the future, I'd wager that this trend line would then get retested. So, and then we can use that information at the right times to either get into long positions or, dare I say, even to execute short positions if price does get up into those zones. So by doing some simple trend line analysis, we can start to put together some form of trading plans to say, oh right, yeah, short if price comes into that trend line, like that NASDAQ trade chart earlier on. Oh right, if it breaks that trend line, do I want to buy that? All of a sudden, just from some simple trend line and support and resistance analysis, you can actually form a trading plan. And there is no dark arts secrets to trading. Yes, there's a way of using trend lines and whatever, but we don't have to follow some dark arts of what some people are trying to sell out there on YouTube and the likes. The basics of technical analysis are sound, and I've been trading for 20 odd years now, and it doesn't make any difference to my trading. I still have plenty of losing trades, but it's funny, year on year on year, I end up usually, touch wood, making money. So and I don't need to be trying to tell people that technical analysis doesn't work, and it's just utter nonsense. There you go. There's my little rant for Saturday morning. Look, 15 minutes in. I hope you enjoyed my little rant today. If you want me to rant about anything else, do give us a comment and let me know, and I'll make sure that I'll do a rant on some other subject for you as well. Have a lovely weekend. For those of you in the UK and France, enjoy your long bank holiday weekends, and I'll see you next week.